Welcome back. Continuing our series on the invasion at the southern border. The mess from this invasion is a part of the story that you rarely see, even the coverage that you do see. Our border correspondent Jason Jones is live in Alpine, Texas, where he rode along with Texas DPS as they survey migrant debris fields. Jason.
Rob, good evening. It's good to be with you. You know, I'm standing right now on private property, about approximately 20 miles south of Van Horn, Texas. And you know, usually I'm bringing you everything from drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, or statistics from the immigration issue at our southwest border. But I want to shift completely for a second, and I want to take a look at what's happening to the American landowner. Look at this property. This is known as the debris field. These are everywhere along the southwest border. There are literally thousands of them, and I'm in the Rocky Mountains at the base of them here in some of the most beautiful country along the southwest border. And to see these debris fields the way we are, Rob, I mean, they're absolutely everywhere. And so tonight we want to focus on landowners, and I'm asking the landowners out there to really pay attention, because this is what's happening to our fellow American. Take a look at some of the video we shot in Del Rio, Texas.
So we found a good layup spot right here is what we call it. We're in between two kind of the major highways that smugglers use cars like to pick up aliens or undocumented individuals waiting in the brush. We're about 20 miles from the river. What they'll do is they'll hike a lot of times in the middle of the night where they're less likely to be caught, making it to a spot like this, changing their clothes, getting out of their wet clothes, and waiting until they're picked up by a smuggler in a car. And then from here, they just try to make it without getting stopped in the cars.
This is private property. This is someone's home.
It is, and Jason, you know, we're right next to the Rio Grande River boundary. This is the border of Mexico, is literally right there. I just took you to another one. It's 23 miles into the interior. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter. It's not isolated to the river boundary. I mean, we're seeing these debris fields on these ranchers 30, 40, 50 miles in the United States from the boundary, you know, and so this is something that's impacting all ranchers in all sectors.
You've worked this border for over 20 years. Have you ever seen it like this?
No, I haven't. My whole career in DPS has been spent on the southwestern border, and I've never in my 25 years seen the border this wide open. I mean, we're doing everything we can from our agency standpoint, but really it's the administration's open border policies that this is a direct result. I could take you to 2,000 of these across the state of Texas, and they're doing nothing but growing.
Quit listening to the media because they're lying to you. Everything down here is in disarray. Everything is, it's horrible. It's horrible to have to live your life scared to death, wondering is this the day that I'm going to have to pull my pistol and actually use it. I'm tired of picking up the trash. I'm tired of fixing fences. I'm tired of living every day of my life wondering what's next. The DPS is a lifesaver in this country for the people down here on the border right now. Without them, I don't know what we'd be doing.
Federal government's not around, right?
No, federal government's not worth crying out to.
Of all of it that's occurring, between the drug trafficking, the damage in your property, your friends and your neighbors leaving the area, not dealing with it anymore, what bothers you the most?
That my government doesn't give a damn.
You've been abandoned.
Been abandoned. And to me, that's treason. That's pure, unadulterated treason.
Treason, unadulterated treason. That interview with Mr. King was one of the most powerful I've ever done. And so when you think about what is happening down here on this border, while we always talk about the immigration issue, we talk about the impact to national security, we can't forget about our fellow Americans. And make no doubt, our federal government has absolutely abandoned them. Rob, back to you.
Amazing stuff. Jason, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Former Border Patrol Commissioner Mark Morgan joins us back here on the set tonight. That really put it all together perfectly, didn't it? I mean, you hear somebody, it's like that's his property, that's his land, that's his home. Yeah. He's dealing with this firsthand. It makes you really understand.
listen to that. If you don't get chills, listen to that rancher, and there's something wrong. Look, the ranchers, as well as small communities all along the southwest border, Rob, they're a large group of unheard voices. But those debris fields you heard, think about what he said, though. He doesn't feel safe in his own home in the United States. I've talked to ranchers who said, a young rancher said, he can't leave his wife or kids at home because he doesn't feel like they're safe. I mean, that's the country that we're living in under this administration.
You see these headlines where they're finding, people that have sexual assault records. The terrible people. They find them all the time.
Murderers, rapists, pedophiles, aggravated felons, gang members, all
running through your backyard.
Running through your backyard. That's not hyperbole. And look, the debris field, that's just a microcosm of the vast set of threats that they face. It's a reason why last week history was set when a local judge in a small county, under the rule of law, declared an invasion. Why? Because they are. Every aspect of their finances, resources, and safety and security are absolutely being invaded. And look, here's what's important. Those local communities, let's keep in mind, they're getting the brunt of that. But look, they're being stampeded through. They're being overrun as those threats continue to make their way to every state in this country.
Every state in the country, and the drug threat, one of the biggest ones. California over the weekend, 5,000 pounds of meth seized from a box truck just across the border. 4 men arrested, all from Tijuana. Meanwhile, in New York, smugglers nabbed with over $1 million in meth. But, of course, thanks to lax bail reform laws here in New York, which are making crime terrible, they had to be quickly released. There has never been a better time to be a drug runner in this country.
That's exactly right. Think about this. So here's the facts that we all know and we agree. The leading cause of death in this country of 18 to 45-year-olds is fentanyl. Last 12 months, 107,000 Americans died from drug overdose. We know that there's a drug epidemic, and we know the majority of drugs come to the southwest border, and we just had 2 drug smugglers that were released. And what alternative universe does that make sense?
None.
It's absolutely outrageous what's going on right now. And real quick, Rob, look, we always talk about what we seize, but what we don't talk about is what we don't seize.
Yeah.
Our border is wide open. Cartels have operational control of large areas of the southwest border, and drugs are pouring across every single day, and we're not seizing them.
And they're making, if you talk to the kids right now, I live in New York City, they have all these new names for drugs. They're combining cocaine with all these other ones.
New synthetic drugs every single day.
Huge right now. It's a huge underground thing going on with drugs in this country, and it's all thanks to this. Mark Morgan, you're going to be here all week. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. Good to see you. All right. So what's it like living on the border during this disaster? John Ladd joins me now. He is an Arizona rancher who owns 10 miles of land right on the border. And John, we want to thank you for coming on. You tell us about migrants cutting your fences, stealing your horses, breaking into your home. Just explain it to us. What's this like?
Well, you got it, but thanks for having me again.
Sure.
That other rancher from Texas, we've been putting up with this for 30 years here. My family's been here 127 years. This is the absolute worst it's been for the people coming across from Mexico and our government. They've abandoned us. It's treason. But we've got people coming around the clock. They really don't want to get caught, but they'll do whatever they need to do to get to the highway to get loaded up.
It's unbelievable. And the rancher we just spoke to, sir, was talking about how he doesn't feel like he's safe. That he doesn't, he's obviously, it's Texas, you got a gun, I hope you got one. But you don't know if you're going to have to use it because of the kinds of people that might be running through your backyard. You feel that same pressure?
Oh, absolutely. My whole family has talked about what we're going to do if we're threatened, and we're not going to let anybody get us. So that's what people in America don't understand. That's how we live every day.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. When you heard that, obviously you're Arizona, you heard Trump's plan for a wall. What was your reaction when you heard about the wall, and what was your reaction when you heard Joe Biden asking for a surge at the border when he campaigned?
Well, we were elated that we were going to get the wall. The 30-foot Trump wall is what we ended up getting.
Yeah.
And they finished the wall on our ranch, but they didn't finish the road or the infrastructure or the technology. And the technology is absolutely wonderful. And it's so good, you wouldn't need a wall if Biden would let Homeland Security hook it up. But that isn't going to happen.
No. Not going to happen, not in the next couple of years anyway. John Ladd, a rancher from Arizona, right on the border. Sir, thank you so much for coming back on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for doing what you're doing.
Stay safe down there.